And welcome to another exciting video. In the previous one, we saw how to create a Stripe customer. Now, that request that we were sending by making use of a Thunder client extension, as you can see over here. But what if we want to ensure that as soon as the user signs up, we create a Stripe customer for that particular user? Now, in order to do that or achieve that functionality, what we need to do is make use of Supabase webhooks. Now, here in our Supabase dashboard, you can see under the project, we have this database menu option coming up. And within that, you will see webhooks coming up. If you click on this, you will be presented with this screen. And here, you need to click on create a new hook. Now, we need to provide a name over here. So as our function, we had this create a Stripe customer. So here we'll be doing that only, create Stripe user customer. And then the table that we need is the profile table. So we have public schema, profile table. And after that, the events that we want is inserting. So any insert operation that happens over here will be tracking that, and then based on that we'll be looking for a HTTP request. Now that HTTP request is going to be, if you see over here, we had this get request to this particular URL. Okay, so let's copy this and we'll go over here. We'll choose the method as get. The URL that we want is this, and then we have the request timeout. Under HTTP parameters, we'll need one more parameter to be added, and that parameter is the API route secret, because this is what we are using to verify that the request is coming from a valid source. So if the API route secret has the value that we have defined, then the request will be processed. So here we'll add a parameter name as API route secret, and then we'll have this value copied and pasted over here. So we have defined it, but you'll notice this URL is basically a localhost URL. So how it will be redirected to this particular instance? As you can see, this is a localhost URL, and whenever we'll be running our application, there's no way that that request will be carried forward to the Supabase webhook, because this is not existing on the public internet. To resolve this issue, what we need to do is make use of this utility called the ngrok. You can go ahead and create your account, and then you'll be redirected to this webpage, dashboard.ngrok.com. And here under getting started, setup and installation, you can see how you can install this on Windows or on any other operating system for that matter. What I've done is I have downloaded the executable form of this particular utility, and then I have used this ngrok config add auth token method to simply create the authentication token which it needs in order to work properly. And after that, I'm going to make use of ngrok http and then this http localhost URL 3000. So what it is going to do, it's going to map any localhost request to a public URL. So here, if you see, I have launched this utility ngrok.exe, and here you can see it's showing my account, the version, the region, and the web interface. And here, if you see forwarding, it is giving me a public URL which is mapped to this localhost 3000 port. And if you notice, we have our app running at this port. What we need to do next is copy this URL and go back to this place. Under webhooks URL, we'll be pasting the copied URL. And once that's done, the next thing is click on create webhook. Now that our webhook is created, the next thing that we need to do is go to tables, and here under profile, what we need to do is go ahead and view the details of this table. Here we will be just going ahead and deleting this particular record. So here delete one row, and after this record has been deleted, the next thing that we will be doing is delete the associated user record as well from the auth tables. Now Let's go to authentication, and here this is the user that we need to delete. So now we have removed the main user and the associated profile data of that user. Finally, we'll be going ahead over here and we'll call the login URL, and this should log in the user. So a user account will get created over here. Let's refresh this page and we have the user created. Now let's go back to the table editor, and here you can see the updated Stripe customer ID coming up. So that way we have successfully called the webhook using ngrok in our local environment, and we have recreated the profile along with the Stripe customer record.